So one of the options for answering the door when guests come over is to send your dog to place. This will also come in handy in other situations, so I would strongly recommend teaching this command regardless of whether you're using this option for the front door. So first things first, we're going to start with our dog on a leash. You're going to have your treat pouch on, ready to go, and I want you to have a dog bed or a raised cot like this. You can do it on something flat, but it is far easier to teach a dog to do the place command on something that's raised. So whether it's a nice cushy dog bed that's off the ground or a cot like this, you can get these on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. You should be able to get it if you ordered it right now, maybe within 2 days, and it will be a game changer for your place command. So strongly recommend getting a raised cot, if not a nice cushy bed. I will put a link to this bed from Amazon. There are higher quality ones that are much more expensive, but honestly, for the price, this one is amazing. So if your dog has never done the place command before, we're gonna start with that. And then, of course, we need to get into proofing for high-level distractions, which could be answering the door, but also could just be having guests, sitting and eating dessert that your dog might be interested in. First, we'll start with teaching the command. Next, we will proof the command. So with your dog on leash and your treat pouch ready, you're gonna have your place cot on the floor, and you are going to walk your dog right up to the bed, and as they step on, we're going to name it place, and then when all 4 feet are on it, we're going to feed them. Place. I strongly recommend using a lot of food for this because we want to create what we would call the dog being sticky to the bed, meaning they want to be there because they get a lot of rewards for it. If you feed kibble, you could absolutely use your dog's meal for training for this and do a whole meal with the place command. And in fact, if you're feeding your dog twice a day, that's 2 times you're going to practice place command every single day. Now you notice I didn't ask him to sit, but I like that he chose that, so I will reward it. Free. Good. You want to pick a word that is going to mean you can come off of the bed. Place means be on the bed until I give you that command, so make sure that if you do not give the command, they are put back on the bed. So we're using free as Odin's break or release word. You can use okay, break, free, or make up your own word so that nobody else can tell your dog to come off of the bed except for the people that own the dog. So we're going to do that a few more times, and then we're going to show you how to do some proofing. You should be able to get to the proofing stage pretty quickly, so we might as well jump into that. Place. Free. So it's important that your dog understands the word place means go to the object and have 4 feet on it. So before, as he's about to do. So before moving on, make sure that you're confident that your dog understands this. So now we want to proof the command, which means we want to teach him that it actually means stay there until we release him. So we're teaching him the word by going up onto the bed. Now it also has another criteria, which is to stay there. I'm not going to tell you to stay. It is an implied stay, meaning place implies that you stay there. Place. Good. So in the beginning, it's critical that you have your dog on a leash and it's in your hand. If you can't have it in your hand, then I would either release them or back tie them to something, meaning I would tie their leash to something so that they can't get off of the bed. So what we're going to do is, using one hand, we're going to put it up like this, open palm, drape the leash over your hand. Okay, the reason for that is I can quickly pull up and put the dog back onto the bed if he gets off. So if I'm going to proof him, I want to make sure he can handle me moving around. If he was to step off the bed, I'm going to step forward and pull up. This called spatial pressure. So I'm going to use my spatial pressure to get the dog back onto the bed. So it's up and forward. If the dog is successful at getting off, I'll just bring him right back onto the bed, but my goal is almost that I stop him before he's off of the bed. Okay, you can start to get creative. I'm going to drop some food here. Good. Now obviously he's done this before. But if he was to go get, see, and he's thinking about it, if he's thinking about it, I'm going to tell him, and I'm going to use my spatial pressure and my leash. Okay, you can also get creative with movement. I'm known to dance around to proof a dog, so if I want the dog to be able to handle kids running around, people just walking past the dog, they need to be able to handle that. So get creative. Free. Good. So the next step is being able to obviously walk away from the dog. Now, I wouldn't jump to this before the dog is ready if possible, but if the opportunity arises to practice place and you're like, should I do it or should I not, but I gotta answer the door, I'm probably gonna do it. So what that looks like is, put the dog on place. I can ask him to sit. Can you sit? Good. Some dog trainers require that a dog is laying down with their chin down on place. I don't have that requirement. I want the dog to achieve that on their own through learning to be calm on place, not because I required them to be in what I've heard is called a double down, which is like laying down with their chin down. So for me, I don't really care what you do on place. Would I like you to achieve calm? Yes. Am I going to force it? No. I want the dog to see this as a good thing, not something that they start to get corrected for if they're not doing the double down. So if he chooses to sit, that's fine. So the next step is to be able to create space between you and your dog and they stay there. So I'm still going to have the leash on the dog, and I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on him. And if there's more than one person in the house, then it's really helpful to have one person kind of managing the dog on place and the other person is answering the door or whatever. Just make sure one person is in charge of the dog. If there's multiple people, it will make your life easier. So he's on his bed and I start to move away. If he was to get off his bed, I would just immediately say, no, grab the leash and put him right back on. It's critical that if you have decided to send your dog to place, that you follow through. The moment you give up, you throw up your hands, you go, I can't do this. He keeps pushing off of the bed. Well, if all it takes is 5, maybe it's even less, 3 times of the dog saying, I don't want to do this, and you give up, he's going to very quickly learn he doesn't have to do it. But if you want this to work, he does have to do it, so you have to follow through. You have to put the dog back on the dog bed. So that might look like, in a very hard situation, it could be you put the dog back 20 times. And I promise you it will be worth it, because if you put him back the 20th time, and then he has this light bulb moment where he's like, oh, I actually have to do this. It doesn't matter how many times I get off, I keep getting put back, I guess I should just settle in and stay. You're gonna go, oh, okay, we made some progress. Now tomorrow or the next time that same situation comes up, so here it's just, nope, place, sit, good. So tomorrow when that situation comes up and yesterday it was 20 times it took of you putting the dog back on place, well tomorrow it might only be 15. Still sounds like an astronomical amount of times putting the dog back on place. I totally understand that. But every single time you follow through, it will get easier. So by following through, you're proving to the dog that you're serious. Like when I say place, it means go there and do not get off until I release you. So make sure your dog believes you, because every time you give up, they go, ha, I know that I only have to get off 10 times and then they give up. No, no, I will not give up. And you will likely hear the dog let out a big sigh. And as soon as you hear that, they'll probably lay down and then they're committed to staying, and you're gonna go, you're gonna sigh yourself and go, that was worth it, because tomorrow it will be easier. What do you think? Yeah? Good boy.